Okay.
I won't be here Monday.
Oh, no.
If y'all wanna do the hickey jig after the service,
The hickey jig?
I'm sorry. Y'all heard, I apologize for using technical terms.
Yeah.
Like hickey
People
jig.
don't understand those, Pastor.
That's South
I
Carolina.
was just gonna say, he's from South Carolina, you're gonna have to give him a pass on that. Oh, boy. All right, no hickey jigging. You want me to leave you alone right now? You need a
Well,
little bit of time.
I'm writing a guy who well, no, I don't want you to leave me alone. I'll put that away.
No, you can finish that.
Because it's time. No,
Is it time to go?
it's time. Okay, it's time.
Say goodbye, Pastor. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
That's 30 minutes in the
I think
future.
we're all suffering, or y'all
Yes.
are all suffering. I don't think I am.
You're not suffering at all. You feel good?
From the lack of that 1
That
hour.
daylight saving.
That loss of an hour.
Can we talk about this a little bit?
It'll do absolutely no good, but sure, we can talk about it.
Okay. Well, as long as our expectations have been established. So, twice a year, all of us,
Yeah.
as a collective society in the United States of America, with the
Yeah.
exception of a few states who have just dug their heels
Yeah,
in.
Arkansas is one.
Isn't Indiana
No,
one?
no, not Arizona is one.
Joanna, get those numbers on our desk, the people that rebelliously refuse to participate in daylight savings
She
time.
walked through the door yawning just a
Yeah.
minute ago.
She's going to tell us the states that don't celebrate. I'm saying celebrate.
It's Arizona is one. I know.
Arizona and Hawaii.
It's just
Hawaii.
Arizona and Hawaii?
Yeah.
Yep.
Except the Navajo Nation in Arizona.
So the Navajo Nation does observe daylight savings time. See, that's been my theory the whole time, that it was an ancient,
Since 1968, they've done that. By
that it was a Native American tradition.
They saved the daylight saving.
Yeah,
Really? The Indians?
probably not, but it's fun to talk about.
There you go. You don't learn this stuff on other podcasts. Only here.
That's because people on other podcasts
With Kirkwood.
don't have the boldness to just make up historical facts out of thin air.
Oh, yeah. There's plenty of people that make up historical fact, just like they make up theological
People make up
junk
stuff.
as well.
Here's my point, though, with the daylight savings time. Twice a year, as a nation,
Yeah,
we decide that time travel is possible.
yeah. I guess so.
We say, no, it's not just science fiction. We're going an hour forward in time.
I love
of
it
us
when we
together.
fall back. The fall is no problem at all.
Oh, for sure, you get that hour back.
Yeah.
You wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel rested and I'm up, 30 minutes, hour early, whatever. This is great. The fall back, much easier. The spring forward, nobody in our house slept well last night. It was just a strange, everybody's just kind of off, you know.
Yeah.
I leave the house, I'm still a few minutes late getting here to the office, but the kids weren't even up when I left.
Is that right?
It was weird.
Oh,
Yeah, it was very
man,
strange.
You ought to be glad. That's wonderful.
Well, I still like seeing them in the morning.
Oh, you do?
Well,
Okay.
I mean, I'd
You
like
can
seeing them,
pop your
period.
head in the room. Go wake them up then. Leave them for your wife to take care of. Hey, let me just go wake up all the kids.
They
before I
actually,
leave.
I'll tell you what happened. I was about to get in the car, and I hear the door, slam behind me, and they all have come out in their bare feet on the deck to say
Oh,
bye
that's-
to me, which was really sweet. But I was also like, make sure you wipe your feet off before you go back, because it's wet outside.
Yeah.
Before you go back inside, because I know their mom's going to be frustrated
Yeah,
at them if they mess up that floor.
Those days, enjoy them now.
Oh, I'm enjoying it. I love
Because,
every minute of it.
Pretty soon, they won't even acknowledge you.
I hope that doesn't happen. I know.
Except when they need money.
Right.
Yeah, yes.
They acknowledge
That's
you.
good.
when
And
they
then
need
you would think, where has all this love been?
I know.
Where has that gone? Boy, they're pouring it on.
You're in a different set of days now. You talked again about the demon dog you had to take out in the rain in
Yes.
the early morning yesterday.
Yeah.
What is
And the lightning popping all around.
that? Yeah, that was something. We've had quite a bit of weather
We have.
recently. I was going to ask you though. So you're on the. Well, I guess both of us have to be on the platform, but preaching's a different animal. Like, what is it? What is it like when you're preaching to people, none of whom are well rested? Did you
Yeah.
feel like it was more dead out there yesterday? Did you even
Maybe a
think
little
about it?
bit, yeah.
Okay.
But I just preach anyway.
It's one of the things that I respect.
Just
It's your
rip-
professionalism
just-
I admire the most.
Yeah.
Hey, but the first, the first service, there was like nobody there.
I thought it was a pretty good crowd.
Oh, really?
For a spring forward
Oh,
Sunday.
okay.
I thought it was pretty good. The second service certainly was.
Oh boy, there was a lot of people that
Yeah.
had their tail between their legs coming to the second
Yeah.
service.
Yeah. And, I guess if you got, of course, regardless of, for me, I've always been there, but, people with young children, I guess it is hard getting them.
Oh yeah, it's difficult. I wouldn't know since my
I wouldn't
wife
know
has to
either
do it.
because I've always left the house by 5 o'clock or so.
Something like that.
Something like that. So Debbie always had that to tend with.
Is the diner open on Sunday mornings?
Yes.
Do you ever swing by there on the way?
If I'm not preaching.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like when
with
Patrick
Pat, yeah.
preached a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I got up, went down there. I had to do that a couple of weeks ago too because the power was out.
Oh yeah, that was weird when the
On a
power was
Sunday
out at the
morning.
building. Yeah, power.
And
was
I
out.
had to get dressed in the dark by flashlight,
Yeah.
looking for clothes and dress and, hold the flashlight and look at yourself and comb your hair.
That was a really interesting outfit
yeah,
you had
put
on
my
that
makeup
day.
on. So,
Powder your
by-
nose.
yeah, by
By candlelight.
flashlight. That was Sunday. Debbie said, "What am I going to do with my hair?"
I remember you
I said,
said.
"Just leave it on your head. Just put it up on your head." So I did. I went down there because I had no coffee, and
Oh,
before
gosh.
I could even be civil, I've got
That's
to
the
get my
original
cup
sin.
of coffee.
That's probably why they went for the fruit. They were just grumpy. They hadn't had their morning coffee yet.
Yeah. Yeah, that may be.
Something like that, right? I don't know. That's a little bit too much ice of Jesus. We don't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
What else should we talk? We got to talk about this baptism yesterday. What an incredible
Well,
story
I
that
was
is.
just, I didn't know anything about it. Well, I knew that there was going to be a baptism, but I
Yeah.
didn't know any of the story or anything. This guy evidently, have y'all heard of him before?
Yeah, he's a rapper. Yeah,
Rapper and whatever. Got saved
hip hop artist.
from Miami?
Yeah, or Tampa.
Tampa. He's
Yeah,
from Tampa, that's
yeah.
right. So, Tampa's a beautiful place.
Oh, for
I
sure.
love the West Coast over there.
But Blake
That was
Prime-
wild, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He and his wife.
Yes, and Blake Prime has been ministering to him
Yeah,
for a
Blake
while
has
now.
this ministry
Yeah,
where if you can call him and he'll zoom in with you and he'll go over your diet and
Yeah.
exercise program and he stays with you. He follows up.
Mm-hmm.
He does devotionals with you.
big time. Yeah,
Led this guy to the Lord,
yeah.
and he wanted to come up here. Came
Yeah.
up here and wanted to be baptized here. So, yeah, it was really wild.
Well, and I know Blake's going to help him get plugged in with the church down where.
Yeah,
they
I
live
think that's
normally.
the neat thing about Blake is that he every week he has everybody can call in and he does a devotional with them and then he checks on you personally and it's a unique. I would call it a ministry.
He's really gifted. I sat in on one of the early morning
Yeah.
devotionals, and yeah, he's just gifted, man. Energy.
He is. I've tried to show him how to lift weights to do
I know.
to do it correctly, but
It's
well, he falls back to his old pattern. So.
yeah, some people you just can't tell people what to do.
Yeah. The last thing I could.
So I tell you,
Need
I
to be
I
doing
try
is
to
tell
tell
him
you
how to
guys
lift
every
weight.
week you need to listen to your pastor.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
That's
11
so funny.
11 reps with the Krispy Kreme. Then you
Yeah.
give the last one to your wife. Then you take the next box. And
That gives you energy. Gives you
oh,
strength.
absolutely. There's a lot of.
Works on you. Works on me.
Are you feeling good today?
Yeah.
Was it last week you were mad about gaining a pound or something like that?
I'm still. I did well. I was down in Louisiana preaching.
Oh,
I
that's
came
right.
home and
Yeah, I
I had
wanted to
lost
hear
a couple of pounds.
There you go.
And since I've been home, I've put on one, and I can't figure it out.
I think the key is just don't weigh yourself every day.
Well, I
Ignorance
got
is
to
bliss.
because I'm going to the doctor.
Oh,
Wednesday.
that's right. I forgot.
And my stars, what my A1C might be. And the only way I can keep that kind of in check is keep my weight down and walk and
Right.
not eat anything.
Not Just never eat.
Just
well,
yogurt.
hey,
Here,
it's
eat
the,
yogurt.
It's the Lenten season. You could just
Yeah,
fast for the next
I
40
could.
days. We're in.
I probably should.
So I brought that. I shouldn't tell this story on the video, but I'm going to anyway. So yesterday morning, I asked the whole team just out of curiosity, because some people like they still, they'll still give up something for Lent, just as kind of like a self-discipline kind of
Right.
thing, even though Baptists, don't really observe Lent. And so I asked people, and I can't remember. Dylan might have to help me remember some of this, but I'm just like, what are you guys giving up for Lent? And people are like, we're not doing anything for Lent. And then somebody was like, well, I'm a Baptist, so I guess I'll say I'm giving up beer and dancing for Lent. Because he saw. And then everyone laughs at that because they're like, we've already given that up. We don't do that. Yeah. And then Gary Hicks is in the back, and he looks kind of despondent. And I'm like, Gary, you okay? Because he's sitting there at the lighting board. I'm like, are you okay? He's just like, yeah, I'm just still reeling from that beer and dancing thing. He's like, I said, why? He's like, you don't understand. I'm from Louisiana.
I didn't know he was Cajun. Listen, I was down there. I had people that they told me
that.
We live 2 hours south of New Orleans.
I didn't know you could go that far. Isn't that the
That's
open
exactly,
ocean?
Well, I said, where do you live? In the Gulf of America?
Whatever we call it.
You
now.
know, the Gulf of America. Do you live in the water? And they said, no, it's down toward Grand Isle. So I had no idea you could drive 2 hours south of New Orleans.
That's got to be
I
as
thought that
Cajun
was a
as it
jumping-
gets, right?
You couldn't believe their accent. I couldn't understand but about every third word.
Is that where Ed Orgeron's from? The old coach of the Tigers?
Yeah. Hey, I'm sorry.
Go Tigers.
Oh, Tigers.
And at the end. Man, I loved that guy. I'm sorry he's gone. He kind of gave up after the national championship.
Well,
But he didn't really want to coach
He had to
anymore.
give up because of some other things too. But
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you had a good time. Was it just at the one church? You're doing a
Yeah.
revival?
No, it was. They're kind of bringing back an old Bible conference where these old great, James Stewart and Beasley, Manly Beasley, and Jimmy Robertson, and all of these old guys.
Yeah.
Adrian Rogers used to
he
go
go
down
down
there.
there,
Vines
okay.
used.
Yeah.
It was a huge Bible conference, and it was a church that built what they called a tabernacle, and they built facilities to accommodate the Bible conference once a year. So they've got housing built there by the church. They've got a big
okay.
prayer chapel. They've got dining hall. They've got, with a full kitchen, all this kind of stuff. So they're built out for, like you would see at a campground, but they hold church there every week.
And so they haven't done this event in a while.
Well,
They're
it kind
trying to
of waned away,
resurrect
and
it.
now it's coming back, and there are a bunch of Cajuns that come there. And people from Texas and Mississippi and other states around as well. But there was a revival that broke out there years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay. What's the church or the camp?
It's,
oh, no, you're like me. I'm sorry.
Milldale.
Okay.
Milldale Baptist Church in Zachary, Louisiana, which
Louisiana.
is just, 8 miles north of Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge is right there.
There's plenty of Louisiana people even around here.
Yeah.
I mentioned Gary, and then and Gary started making fun of the Cajun people, and then Patty Cato's like, well, I resemble that remark because she and Bobby are from Louisiana.
Are they really?
Yeah,
I
back
didn't
in
know
the
that
day.
either.
My wife was born in Louisiana.
Is that?
Yeah, she lived. That's what's on her birth certificate. She lived there for a couple years before their family moved to Alabama. So yeah, there's plenty of Louisiana around here.
Ooh, I love to go down there and eat.
Oh my gosh. Well, I told you how I've been.
Yeah.
Now that I've been.
I love to eat down there. Good.
Do you remember that old PBS show, The Cajun Gourmet, where the
Yeah.
guy was doing
yeah.
how'd I do it?
Yeah.
And
What's
he
his name
put it
was?
together. Well, get those numbers on our desk. Who was the host of The Cajun Gourmet? He had
What's his name?
Was
I
it
can't-
Brian?
No.
Jordan?
No.
Maxwell? We're just gonna sit here till Joanna tells
Thibodeau.
us. T-Boy. Oh well.
Oh, what was his name? oh, when you say it, I'm just going to kick myself.
So since I've been doing,
Justin Wilson?
Yes.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, really simple sounding name.
Justin Elmer Wilson.
Justin Elmer Wilson. God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Old J-E-W. That's funny. Is that a Jew? I guarantee that my initials spell Jew. That's interesting. So, yeah, I've enjoyed the food a lot more because I've gone down to New Orleans a couple of times for this to go for these doctoral studies, and so every time you go down there, you got to get the
Listen, there's
real deal
some
food.
places down there that are just incredible to go and eat. And you know, some of the places that used to be great, just they've kind of
Yeah.
lost their luster.
Some of the places, yeah, they'll strike fear into your heart.
They've just kind of lost a little bit, and it's so sad to go back to a place that used to be so good, and it's just kind of so now. But there's some great places to eat down there.
The cycle of this, that kind of, I don't know, like demographic or sociological cycle happens. It seems to happen in different places in every single city.
Yeah.
It happens with churches.
It
Which is
does.
strange.
It's just is what I was talking about. This used to
Yeah.
be such a huge conference down there, and it just kind of waned away. But Jeremy Pruitt, pastor down there, he's really making a comeback at the.
Well, I like that. Did
He's
they
great.
live stream it? Can people go find your
Yeah,
messages
it was on
there?
live stream because
Okay.
Dr. Vines was watching it.
Maybe Joanna can find that for us. The Milldale Baptist
Milldale
Church.
Baptist Church.
And they just had their big
Yeah.
conference. So maybe.
Free Louisiana.
Yeah.
So
And
maybe-
their conference is much bigger than the church.
Oh, okay.
When they put on the conference, I mean, they'll run way more folks than they have in the church.
Well, maybe Joe will be able to point people to that. I know people like seeing more Mac Brunson content.
Oh, yeah.
If they can find it.
Yeah.
Speaking of, let's talk about the message. Yesterday, we're back to the
Yeah.
Do you know?
Do you really know?
Do you really know
Jesus?
Christ?
Yeah.
Do you really?
know Jesus? Yeah.
And you were talking about the Jesus, the I am statement,
Yeah.
the light of the world. Which if we have time, we'll talk about the adulterous woman as well. But I think that the I am the light statement is fascinating because you put it in context. Now, you gave a little bit of this. You probably don't remember it. You gave a little bit of this 5 years ago when you were preaching through the Gospel
Yes.
of John
Yeah.
about these gigantic
that was
candelabras.
6.5 years ago.
Was it really that
Yeah,
long?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I just gave the background of what this verse is during the Feast of Booths.
Yes.
What that would have been like there when Jesus said this, which that just, to me, adds to everything that Jesus says. Not that it needs
'Cause
to be,
he's
but
standing-
it just puts it in context. You see it. You can see it in your mind's eye, you know. It's kind of like,
To remind everybody, Jesus is standing in the midst of, there's these huge candelabras,
Yeah.
like giving lots of light even in the evening.
Yep,
And then
yep.
around them are thousands of menorahs
yeah,
as well,
probably so.
all as
They were all over the place.
all representing the cloud of fire that led the ancient Israelites
Yep.
in the wilderness.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's
during,
what it symbolized.
and so everyone is seeing that as their light, their source of light, and in the midst of that,
Yeah.
that's where Jesus stands up. And you don't think he just said it. You think he probably shouted it.
Yeah, I
proclaimed it.
do. I do.
That really got people to say, well, and when you put it in that context, again, it's this big festival, and you have like this, I mean, obviously people know who he was, but not everybody was paying attention to
Yeah.
him. So it's almost like a street preacher, a soapbox guy, to stand up
Yeah.
and to
Well,
call people to come to him in that way.
Well, seemingly at this point, massive crowds were following him. You know,
Oh,
he
already?
he just shows up. See, early in the morning, he came again to the temple, and all the people were coming to him.
You're right. I missed that part.
And he sat down and he began to teach them. So you've got these, and we had just looked in chapter 6 where you've got this crowd that is upwards, easily upwards of 20,000 people that were there. And so you've got these massive crowds that are hearing about Jesus, and tons of these folks who've seen him do something, a miracle of something. And so they are just flocking to him right now.
Now he's using this as an object lesson. He's
Yeah.
saying, you see this? This is how
Yeah.
I am the light of the world. And you actually I think you ended the message talking about like how that's illustrated in the new heavens and the new earth,
Yeah.
where he is the
Yeah.
source of light. There's no need for
Right.
the sun anymore.
Yeah, you know, every time you preach a sermon, you sit there and you just kind of think, why didn't I do this? Or why did I say
That's
that?
what
Why
this
didn't I
is
go
for.
back and do this other? I could have just gone back to the Old Testament and talked a little bit about the cloud. And, you know,
Well, let's talk about it now.
there's a passage back here. It's really an interesting passage that deals with that cloud, that when they saw it, let me think about where that is.
Is it in the Exodus?
Yes, it's in Exodus, and it's in Exodus where the cloud comes up. They see the cloud come up.
Is it right before they cross the Red Sea?
Maybe it is in chapter 16. Let's see. So it came out of the evening. Quails came up by the whole congregation grumbling.
Jared's going to fast forward through all this for us. This is complete proof of how little we actually prepare before we get on here.
Well, I can tell you this, you know, you go to start looking for a passage, you'll never find it.
That's exactly right. 16 is where he's already providing
Yeah,
water and
yeah,
manna.
yeah.
Man, this moves even faster than I remember. I skipped Exodus in my chronological this year because you just preached on it. I just moved on to Leviticus.
Did you
Now
really?
I'm feeling the pain. Shouldn't have skipped it. Although I've got some interesting Levitical notes if you want to talk about that if we go to bonus time.
Marching after them,
Darkness. Feast of
here's one of the passages. The angel of God, who had been going before the camp of Israel, moved and went behind them, and the pillar of cloud moved from before them and stood behind them, and the camp of Egypt and the camp of Israel, and there was the cloud along with the darkness, yet it gave light at night. Thus the one did not come to the, near the other. So, this cloud does some unusual things, and
That's chapter 14 you were just
that
reading
was,
from.
that was 14. I can't, it's when they saw the cloud come up and they saw I don't know, there's a sermon where I go back to that and I can't remember. It's somewhere right in here. But anyway,
Yeah.
I could have
we
gone
did our
back
best.
and I could have looked at that and talked about that and say, this is what all of this is pointing to, was to the cloud. That's what all this illumination was about every night that they were there.
Yeah, there in John chapter 8.
In John chapter 8. But I didn't do that. I chose to, I guess I really didn't even think about that. I had all this other that was on my mind. Because I kind of started out with the woman. Here's
Yeah.
the immediate context. This verse context is against the backdrop of the Feast of Booths. But then you've got the chapter context. And I introduced the whole thing with the book context, talking about light.
Right, yes,
Because
that's even in
it's
chapter
just
1.
constantly,
Yeah.
in chapter 1 you see that, chapter 8 you see it, chapter 9 you see it, chapter 12 you see it. John does some interesting things. He plays against this thing of light and darkness and water and dryness.
That is interesting.
There are kind of some themes that go through John that are really fascinating to me.
Are you digging into that this coming week, or where are you going to stay
No,
in
I think
John?
I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm going to go to the 10th chapter, and I'm going to try to deal with this Sunday with Jesus saying, "I am the door."
Oh, okay.
Verses chapter 10, 1 through about 1 through 9, I think. And then I'm going to come back, because I thought I would put the two of these together where he says, I'm the door, and then he says, I'm the good shepherd. But he's really saying two different things here. And in studying early this morning, I've kind of hit on something that I want to talk about in the beginning that kind of lends a new insight into Jesus saying, I am the door.
Oh, that's exciting. Well, I'm excited to hear about it.
But I tend to get into those things, and I get so much of that then I don't have enough time to get through the rest of what I want to do, and it's just a battle within me.
Yeah, you do that sometimes when you after 42 minutes you say, okay, now the introduction's over,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm going
yeah.
to preach to you now.
Yeah, that's what.
Which I understand. There's so much richness out there in the scriptures, and even you just touching on those couple of themes in the Gospel of John.
Yeah.
You could explore that for a long time.
The big thing that really just hit me, and it didn't hit me until early Sunday morning, was verse, you judge according to the flesh, and I'm not judging anyone. And so
That
you
is
say, well,
fascinating.
I'm not judging this woman. Well, what Jesus was implying there, and I don't know if I made this clear or not, is that this time, while he's here in this earthly ministry, he was not here to judge. He was here to take sin on himself and go to the cross and pay the penalty for that sin.
See, I thought you made that crystal clear.
Oh, good. I hope
was
I
one
did.
of that to me was one of the strongest points of the message, especially from an apologetic standpoint.
Yeah.
Because there's so many modern scholars, secular scholars. You even mentioned the Bultmanns and the Hermans and the
Yeah.
the Boogermans and whatever you said, but you said that these guys, they want to look at the Gospels only.
Yeah,
And really,
yeah.
even that doesn't really work. But just their line of argument is, you look at Jesus and you see, wow, he's soft. He's kind.
Yeah.
He's gentle. I have not come to judge.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, he's just not he's not a judge.
Well, that's a misinterpretation of that.
Well, not only is it a misinterpretation of that, it completely throws out the rest of God's word, where Jesus has the right to be the judge, and when he comes back again, he is.
Yeah. I heard a rabbi say the other day, I was watching a rabbi on this, and he said the Messiah would never die.
Interesting.
Well,
you gotta-
what are you going to do with Psalm 22 or Isaiah
53 is the
you
first
know?
one. Psalm 22
What
is
are you
also
going to do
good.
with all of that? So, but they could not and would not see Jesus for what he was intending to do. The Messiah was sent to do the first time. Now, the second time he comes, Katie bar the door.
Yeah, he's going to force you to see what it is.
Yes, you will. Every knee will bow,
That-
and every tongue will confess.
See, that's that's what I want to make know, especially when I try to share the gospel with people. Is like, when if you are not in Christ, at that trumpet sound, like your knee is going to bow whether you like it or not.
Yep. Yeah.
Like it's going to be involuntary. At that point, you're done, and you're going to ascribe to him his lordship, and then you will be sent away.
Yeah.
And that's a scary thing. It's sad to me that
That's the part that I'm saving for this whole series to the last.
Oh, okay.
We're going to look at the Jesus we don't ever think about.
the Jesus that is now ascended and
Yes.
seated at the
we're,
right hand
we're
of the
not
Father.
gonna, and the controversies that he is involved in. There's a
yeah.
great old book by a great old preacher by the name of G. Campbell Morgan.
Oh yeah.
And G. Campbell Morgan, who was at Westminster Chapel for eons, did a series of sermons called The Crisis of the Christ. And those old sermons are great old sermons. When I was first called to ministry and got married, and we moved into our little apartment in Greenville, South Carolina, because I had a semester left at Furman, and Debbie had gotten a job there. And the first set of books I bought myself was the set of G. Campbell Morgan's Westminster Pulpit.
Neat.
And I would read one of his sermons a day. He was he was called the Prince of Expositors, and he had that had tremendous impact on me.
You still have those books?
I do. I've got them somewhere. I guess they're in my office.
You got it all memorized, so you
No,
probably
I
need-
don't. In fact, I had forgotten about that book, The Crisis of the Christ, until Dr. Johnson reminded me of it a couple of weeks ago when I was preaching in Texas, and I went out to dinner with him.
So are you going to use that as a little inspiration going forward? You come back to some of those moments, maybe?
Yeah, I will. At the end of when I do the I ams and the I wills, I'll come to this third part of this about Jesus, and that is the Jesus we rarely ever think about, or the Jesus, well, I don't know. I've struggled with what to call this whole thing the entire time. I started to say the Jesus you don't want to know. But that's why we don't think about it.
Sure.
Because he is also the Jesus of judgment.
Yeah. And that's something that the Bible makes abundantly clear. The Bible doesn't shy away from. But we in our culture,
we like to keep it all nice and neat, and little high tea and little nice little sweet sayings.
Well, when we get there, when we get closer to that, we'll have Joanna change all the graphics to the Jesus you don't want to know.
Yeah.
We'll put that.
Yeah.
I tell you, they get people's attention, right, Jared? You get some hits on YouTube if you start preaching that.
You come to what you see in Revelation chapter 1 of Jesus, and it's pretty chilling. You see this Jesus that shows up. His eyes were like a flame of fire.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'm looking forward to hearing just.
I'm going to look at the controversies more than anything else with the Pharisees, because Jesus was controversial.
There's no question about that, and that's the kind of thing where people talk about, like, Jesus being soft and gentle, and it's like, well, he wasn't gentle at all with the religious people.
Yeah, no.
He created extreme controversy.
Yeah. He wove together a whip and goes through and starts whooping on them.
I'm telling you, man. I love it.
Here, lessons for a pastor.
That's
Get
right.
you a whip, go through on a Sunday morning, start whooping the people.
Oh gosh, that reminds me. What is it Samuel when he hacks up? Is it Agag?
Oh yeah, can you imagine that?
Or Gog, or so whatever it is. Agag. Man, that's one of my favorite. When you were just like, sometimes a pastor just has to take matters.
Well, that was like Nehemiah, who goes through slapping them in the head and pulling their beard. He does that now. See, he was a layman. He could get by with doing that.
The Nehemiah kid.
Yeah, he was a layman. He was a
pastor
civil servant,
can't do it,
so
yeah.
he.
All right, so you just got to find whoever it's going to be.
Worked for the government.
People don't have long enough beards these days to pull on them really good.
Wonder if Nehemiah would have made it through Doge.
That's a good point.
He was a civil servant, worked for the government.
Well, he could have just put. Well, we know what his first 2 bullet points were, right? Slapping and the beard pulling. So what else, Nehemiah? Well, he read it.
I think they probably would have liked that. They would have approved.
Rebuilt the wall.
Yeah, that's right.
Made good
he
friends
built
with
the wall. Man, this has got that all written all over it.
Nehemiah would have done okay.
Yeah.
He would have survived the purge. What else should we talk about? I feel like we've pretty much covered it. You already told us
what to say.
You're
other
going
than the huge takeaway I hope from this was this is the character of Christ, is that he doesn't come to run you down or condemn you. He comes to take your sin on himself. That's what I'm wanting to do in the I Am series, is to show you that Jesus says, this is who I am. And he's saying, let me explain to you who I am. So he comes and says, I am the bread of life. I am the light of the world. I am the door, which has some implications that we rarely think about, about being the door.
So we're gonna see those implications this Sunday.
Here's the
Yes,
no,
sir.
I'm not going to give it away. I was going to.
Don't give it away. You
I'm
guys
not
listen.
gonna give it away.
Don't spoil, Pastor, like you spoiled the
Yeah.
end of Frozen 2. People are still mad at you about
I
that.
know. I'm sorry.
Don't keep up with the spoilers.
And I have completely forgotten what happened in Frozen 2, and I've seen it 2,000 times.
Me too. But if you want to know, just ask Harper Bullis, because she will tell you the whole thing. That's her favorite thing, is to tell like movie stories.
Well, I've got these 2 youngest granddaughters now, so the others have gotten on up,
Yeah.
and they don't watch it nearly as much. But now we've got a new crop.
You got little Dallas, and who's the other one?
Coda.
Oh, okay.
Her
go.
birthday's tomorrow. She'll be 4,
Wow.
and in a month, Dallas will be 4.
Okay.
They're born a month apart,
So
and they
you-
are both they're a hoot.
Just watching Frozen with
Yeah.
them. Frozen 3.
I've never seen Baby
coming out.
Boss.
Oh,
Boss
the Boss
Baby.
Baby.
Boss
Yeah.
Baby.
Did you see it this week?
No, but I've got 2 little granddaughters.
Okay.
They're boss,
they're the Boss
They're
Baby.
the Boss Babies.
That's how Hope is for us. She just turned 3, and she believes strongly that she's in charge of everything. It is a deeply held core belief of hers.
Oh gosh, that is so
we're,
funny.
We're working on educating her about all the ways it's not true. But hey, speaking of the babies, we've got our parent-child dedication this coming week, which I'm excited about.
Yeah.
We're gonna We're going to be dedicating
62 babies.
baby faith. Can you believe that? 62 babies.
The past
No.
week is no longer than an hour.
That's,
Yeah.
So
we'll be here for the day.
yeah.
No.
No food will be served. Brown bag it. Well, so it is. I think it's like 11 children being dedicated.
That's generally right around where we hit.
Yeah.
Is that we dedicate about 25 babies or so a year.
Organic church growth, Pastor. That's
Yeah,
what it's all
yeah.
about.
They're, Dr. Cruz went, children of the church.
It's gonna be-
This is a child of the church.
What else was I going to say about this week? Oh, so we're having our students join us in the choir this week. We're making it a multi-generational
good,
Sunday.
good.
And I'm excited because Corey took a tally of all the kids that are planning on singing in the choir this
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
50.
No, I don't believe that.
I told him, I said, I'll believe it when I see it. But he said that he took down 50 names of the kids that wanted to be in the choir.
Is that right?
So yeah, man, this is us trying to push towards doing some kind of student choir ensemble thing in the fall. We're going to try to make it happen.
That's huge.
So we'll see.
They wasn't running 50 when I came.
No, they weren't. No, they were not. But they're pretty serious about it. So we're.
Well, there's some of them down there singing on Sunday morning, son. They are serious.
Listen, our band yesterday was super young. I mean, Dylan obviously quite
That's
the
because
young
all
man.
the old folks couldn't get out to bed.
That's really true too. Well, honestly, the old folks, they're the ones that are up at 5 a.m. anyway. It's the young ones you got to look out for.
That's true.
Like we're so old, I couldn't sleep in if I wanted to. Joanna, you can actually sleep in. You're actually able to do that. Joanna can actually sleep in. I can't do it.
Come
I
4,
can't do it.
4:30, I'm
Many
up.
years it eluded me, I've come back.
She's full circle at this point, so now she can sleep in.
I don't know what it was about sleeping past 6 o'clock that drove my dad out of his mind. But you couldn't do it. You couldn't stay in the
Nobody
bed.
was allowed to stay. Oh, okay.
You
Half
what
the
are you
days
doing?
are-
Yeah, you burning daylight.
The
I
military
think John
mindset.
Wayne got that from him. So
Oh man, did you see that? I'll show it to you. The John Wayne. It's like John Wayne on parenting, something like that. Did you see that?
No,
Where
I
he
hadn't
just
seen
like gets mad at a kid and tosses him into the water.
oh, he's teaching that kid
Right.
on the Cowboys how to swim. Yeah, yeah.
Can you swim? No, sir. All right, it's been fun hanging
gosh.
out with you guys. Say goodbye, Pastor.
Goodbye, Pastor.
We'll see you on Wednesday night. Spring break's coming up.
Oh yes.
College spring break is.
Listen, a week from today, I'll be on a plane headed
That's right.
out of this country.
You're preaching on the. You're preaching
I'm
this
preaching
week.
Sunday.
But
But I won't be here Monday.
Oh no.
If y'all wanna do the hickey jig after the service,
The hickey jig.
I'm sorry. Y'all heard, I apologize for using technical terms.
Yeah.
Like hickey
People
jig.
don't understand those, Pastor.
That's
I was just gonna say, he's from South Carolina. You're gonna have to give him a pass on that. Oh boy. All right, no hickey jigging.